am here. I was just making a pithy answer to someone on Twitter because I was like, what the hell is this dude talking about? But apparently he was joking and I didn't get the joke. You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you? Good morning. So today on the show, if you don't like to hear about the clusterfuck that is Joe Biden, I'm sorry, because we're gonna talk about the debacle from yesterday. I don't know why my dog's up there barking. I can barely hear you. Well, you probably can't hear him, but I can. So we went through yesterday's speech because I had to go back and watch the rest of it, and we did that noise. And oh, God. Anyway, so today we're going to watch some of the reactions from yesterday. Now, there were a couple. No. Gunfox, that is... I'll get to that. I see you asking me to reset the donor today, but I don't need to because that is today's. So anyway, I'll get to that. Yeah, we're going to look at some of the reactions to the president's speech and a few opinion pieces on what's going on and a few factual pieces, and just so that we make sure we have some perspective. And of course, I am dumbfounded by this whole thing. You know, I was telling somebody else about this yesterday, and I couldn't stop swearing. You know, and I don't swear that much, but the F-bombs and everything was just coming out. I just couldn't believe it. And so we'll get to that. But anyway, we'll get it all started right after the intro. Johnny, play the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawgKnight.
All right, let's stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet. And welcome back to the PDawgKnight Channel, where we make sure that we have mostly peaceful withdrawals from countries we probably shouldn't be in anyway. It is the 17th of August, 2021, and I just realized I forgot to pay one of my bills. I'll have to do that after I get off the show. And happy day to you. I hope you're having a wonderful morning. Obviously, the show's on this morning because I did not have to drive Lady Boomer anywhere this morning, and here we are. Also, really quick, now there was a sponsor this morning that I'm going to press this little button. There we go. That would be Tazzy with the big 50 through the Streamlabs super chat donor there. And it just says, "Hey P-Dawg, I just wanted to say thanks for your great work, and here's a few bucks to put toward fixing your truck." Yes, thank you very much. Every time helps. "Can you please give Mrs. Tazzy a shout out for her birthday on the 19th of August? She'd be stoked. Thanks and cheers, mate." Well, it's the 17th, but I'm just going to give you a little preview. Happy birthday, Mrs. Tazzy. But we'll do the real thing in a couple days. I'll just have to make a note of that. Also, I know there's another birthday in our group today, and so let's say good morning to everybody so we can get to that. So anyway, but Tazzy,
you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the
that's
day.
so quiet. Holy crap, what's going on here? Did I have that? Let's see here. This button, this wire here, that wire there. Well, okay, as long as you can hear it, it's all good to me. Anyway, thank you, Tazzy, for being such a loyal viewer. Tazzy always watches the replay because there's a time difference that just doesn't work out for Tazzy. I think Tazzy is also Estrella. if you know where Straya is. But anyway, let's also say good morning. Why is my monitor down so low? There we go. Also, let's say good morning to everyone in the chat, like we do every morning on the Morning Night Live. I'm scrolling up first in the chat today with Somnambule Nation. And you were here first, and you get the bell. Also, good morning, Gunfox61, who has just put a ton of news in my Discord. I wish I could keep up, but I banned some. Yeah, thank you again, as always. Also, good morning, Mike Savage. And also, good morning to the birthday boy, Jonathan Peterson. Yeah, I'm just going to give you a bell for that. And we're just going to keep it going. And so happy birthday to our friend Jonathan Peterson. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Jonathan Peterson. Happy birthday to you. Ba-da-ba. Happy birthday, sir. Glad to have you here. And I think when I was scrolling earlier, it said that we're happy that you're here, period. That you might, when you were born, it was touch and go. So we're extra glad that you're here. Also, good morning, Jesse Leon. Nice to see you. Good morning also, Tack Alpaca, Aaron Meredith, Willett Forge, Cracker Rob is in the house. Good to see you. DI Freighter Watcher, welcome back. Also, good morning, Attack Alpaca. K Shull, why are you so angry? Again, the name, not the question. Also, good morning, Tyler F. Nobody Not Me's in the house. Nice to see you. Michael Hatfield, OxP2, King of Common Law, Thomas Cleaver, who says first. Because no matter what time of day it is and where you are in the world, Thomas Cleaver is first. There you go. Also, Yet Capone, my favorite Canadian, and Don Julio, golf biker and trash man. We've got a very good start to the day. Special Can Acids also in the house. While you're at it, while you're thinking about it, while you're here, if you like what we do at some point during the show, I'm going to ask you to hit the like button, like as in right now, because you just might as well get it out of the way, because we already know. Also, if you're not subscribed, I know there's sometimes people lurking who are not subscribed. The little subscribe thing comes up right here, and hit that thumbs up thing. There's the like thing. And then also, if you want to be a sponsor of the show, you can do it at PDawgKnight.live right down there. The link will come up in the chat every once in a while. But if you want to be a sponsor, that'd be great. I appreciate it. And we'll read your sponsor message on the screen, just like we do with Super Chats. So YouTube Super Chats are also available. There's a couple other ways you can sponsor the show, or by, either donations or buy something from the merch store. And I only have one line of merch items. I should probably step up my merch game, because I have some ideas. But I think part of that is I'm going to do some merch for the Marty's Big Journey channel, I think more, which also, that's another thing. If you want to, you can help us out by subscribing to that channel too. When I start putting stuff up, that'll be up hopefully in the next 2 days. I'm going to have a couple new videos up there, and I will also have little previews on them on this channel. And so I hope you enjoy that kind of stuff. It's just a little bit different stuff. It's not the political commentary stuff, but more just some of the cool stuff that we do to kind of get people the idea that even during a pandemic, you can enjoy life by just doing some simple things. And we do a lot of traveling to small towns and just seeing what's cool there. Often when if we're driving in the United States, if you're driving and you see a brown road sign, usually that is a local or nearby attraction that usually not far off the road, and we like to stop at brown signs. It's just the thing we started doing over the last few years, and we found some pretty cool stuff by just checking out what's just off the road from the brown sign. So it's a good, it's a lot of fun, and you'll see what we're talking about when I start putting those videos online at Marty's Big Journey. That's the name of the channel. Again, I'll have previews on this channel with links to it there, and we'll get that started very soon. Also, good morning, Renee Mayette. Also, Jedi Ghost Bear, welcome. Nice to see you. Jedi Ghost Bear is also another person who gives me a lot of links. You and Gunfox keep me very busy. All right, but today I wanted to get into a little bit of the aftermath of Biden's mostly peaceful withdrawal And there's something fascinating, and I just want to show you. Normally the networks like to give Biden a lot of bail, and I think at first, there were. It's interesting because there were some people who were just praising the speech as he was saying it. Biden is taking responsibility. Oh, the buck starts here, blah, 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 blah. Not really noticing that throughout the speech, he constantly passed the buck, right? We're leaving because it's Trump's fault, but I'm leaving because I'm, not going to pass this disaster on to someone else. Well, first of all, it was the other president's idea to do this, and when you change the date of when we were doing this, that's what caused all the problems, instead of just following the timeline that was negotiated with that group over there that seems to be taking everything over. But the point here is there were people online that were not buying the let's give Biden some bail on this nonsense. Okay. By the way, quick hi to W.R. Costin, Johnny Hellcat, the original viewer of the Morning Night Live, James PFP, Seamus Derby. Nice to have you all here. So I want to show you a few of these because some of these are quite, just quite out of character for what you're expecting to see from the media. Because usually the media, again, gives Biden a ton of bail, right? Well, let's start with this one where this Brian Williams, who's a disgraced journalist who got pushed over to being on MSNBC after some of his foibles in the real world, he was talking to this guy that and he got an answer that I don't think that he was expecting to get from some security expert. And this is just, I love this. Let's take a look at this. Oh, is there going to be an ad first? You could skip the ad. Okay, well, the ad is not showing up. That's good. All right, let's just close the ad.
So I'm curious to hear your reaction of this consequential speech by the American president.
Stop. Do you hear how Brian Williams describes this? And again, even though consequential isn't lavishing praise, is it meant to lavish praise? Like, president being presidential. Blah, 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 blah. Brian Williams at MSNBC, basically, again, it's the tank cleaning crew. Hello, Shroom. How you doing? Nice to see you. And Lord Stanhope, too. Okay, real quick. Okay, I'm going to back it up because I want you to hear him say it again.
Curious to hear your reaction of this consequential speech by the American president. Didn't run from it.
So
he owned it. He owned his decision. He owned the fact that, as he put it, the buck stops with him.
Yes. Oh, he owned it. He didn't shy away from his decision. He's so presidential. The answer here is fantastic. Here we go.
I hope he gets to own their deaths too.
Now, Brian Williams isn't ready for this at all. And his furrowed lip and brow kind of tell you where this is going. Hello, Attack Alpaca. Oh, look, here it is again. Here it is.
He put it, the buck stops with him.
I hope he gets to own their deaths too. I feel like I watched a different speech than the rest of you guys.
Good.
I was appalled. There was such a profound, bold-faced lie in that speech. The idea that we planned for every contingency.
Right.
I have been personally trying to tell this administration since it took office. I've been trying to tell our government for years that this was coming. We sent them plan after plan on how to evacuate these people. Nobody listened to us. They didn't plan for the evacuation of our Afghan wartime allies. They're trying to conduct it now at the 11th hour.
Okay, so, and we kind of saw this when Biden was saying the speech, said, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about a plan? Because Biden said, first of all, they'd planned for all contingencies, and yet they're scrambling at the last second because they weren't expecting this just overwhelming and just white flag waving from the Afghani people when the Taliban came through, that they didn't put up a fight. They were not ready for this contingency." And I thought too that maybe this guy, being on MSNBC, that he wouldn't be a guest ever again on MSNBC. But Nicole Wallace had him on the very next show too. So, but I don't know if he's ever going to be a guest there again after yesterday. But anyway, let's hear the rest of his answer here.
The thing that they were most concerned about was the optics of a chaotic evacuation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they got exactly what they were most concerned of by failing to do what was right when we could have done it. We had all the people and equipment in place to be able to save these people months ago, and we did nothing. I'm appalled.
There was a plan months ago. Remember that? I think somebody say we should be out by another day? Yeah, we were supposed to be out by May 1st because we had an agreement. They would have had these. Oh, good Lord. But no, Joe Biden arbitrarily changed the date without negotiating again. And that's why the Taliban said, fuck it, we're going in.
He thinks we only need to take 2,000 people. There's 86,000 people who are currently left behind in Afghanistan alone. We've identified all of them for the government. I have no idea why he claims that people don't want to leave Afghanistan. I have a list of 14,000 names right now of people who want to get out of Afghanistan. And the idea that the Afghan military should be blamed for this, do you know how many casualties the Afghan military took in an average year? More than the United States did in 20. When you're not getting paid on a regular basis, when you're not getting fuel, when no one is supplying you with ammunition, and yet you're still showing up to the fight, how dare us for having to blame these people for not having the audacity to be able to survive a Taliban onslaught? No. What we need to be doing right now, and what I am appalled that the president didn't say, was we need to be talking about how we're going to get every single one of these people out.
Yes. So there you go. Anyway, so yeah, this guy was not having it. I don't even know who his name is, but his name is okay, so here it is.
It's back to school.
What? Hey, shit.
Are you ready?
Turn that off. Get off my screen. There we go. So anyway, brief crack and alternate reality, that is MSNBC last night, as former CIA analyst and Afghan war veteran Matt Zeller reacted to the liberal spin on Joe Biden's Afghanistan speech. So good for him for just being truthful. Now, it's interesting though, because also on CNN, this wasn't they weren't giving Biden a whole lot of bail. Now, I haven't checked today's, but here's a few examples of what it looked like on CNN. I think this is Leon Panetta. This is wasn't he the defense secretary under President Clinton, I think, or was it under Obama? I can't remember. I know he's under Obama doing something, and then I think he's in both administrations. Hello, Captain Brambles. How you doing? All right, so here's Leon Panetta on Anderson Cooper's show.
Ask you again, if you were the White House chief of staff today, as you have been in the past, you would be the last person probably to talk to the president before he walked out to give that address to the American people today. Put this into context. This moment is what for Joe Biden, President Biden?
Clusterfuck.
In many ways, I think of John Kennedy and the Bay of Pigs. It unfolded quickly, and the president thought that everything would be fine, and that was not the case. But President Kennedy took responsibility for what took place. And I strongly recommend to President Biden that he take responsibility, admit the mistakes that were made.
Yeah, I don't know if you really want this compared to the Bay of Pigs. I'm sorry. You don't want it to. You don't want it to be compared to the Bay of Pigs, but that's not all that happened on CNN. Here's another one. This one, listen to this.
Where is the president? Why isn't he communicating
Where is
wholesomely to the American people?
The president has been deeply engaged in all of the policy conversations and in this situation as it evolves in real time. We have met with the president and his entire national security team daily and often multiple times a day. That's going to continue again today. The president has spoken to this issue a number of times in recent weeks. We expect
He has
that he will
not.
speak
Look,
to it again.
John, totally different story than a few weeks
She
ago,
ain't having
right?
it.
I mean, why isn't he?
This is some. Who is this? Some white. Who is this? What's this guy's name? Finer. He's some White House spokesman, and she ain't having it. I love it, and I'm shocked. Hello, Gamer Verleen. How you doing? Good morning, Maddie. Also, Panetta was Obama. We were a social experiment under. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was the defense secretary under Obama. He was. What was he under? President Clinton. He was in cabinet, Clinton's cabinet, but not as defense. But anyway,
He out there now. Kabul fell yesterday.
A number of times in recent weeks.
He
We expect
has
that he will
not.
speak
Look,
to it again.
John, totally different story than a few weeks ago, right? I mean, why isn't he out there now? Kabul fell yesterday. Where is the president?
I mean, again,
where's Waldo? He's probably at Camp David eating pudding.
The president has spoken to this extensively, and I expect that he will speak to it again soon.
Spoken to it extensively? He gave a 12-minute speech or 17-minute speech and didn't take any questions and went back to Camp David. What the hell are you talking about? Defeat as an orphan and PDawgKnight? Yeah, it's probably better compared to the Bay of Pigs, the fall of Saigon, then the fall of Saigon, worse than Saigon, and previous administration set up the withdrawal. Yeah, anyway, true. That's true. Okay, let's see where I'm going to go back a little bit and see where she goes here.
Speak to it again soon.
Soon, in the coming days, should we hear something from him today? Do you expect that? It seems like the moment demands that.
I'm not going to get ahead of both decision-making and announcements on this. All I can say at this point is that we expect the president again to address the American people on Afghanistan, and as soon as we have more to say about that, we will.
Okay,
so she's not having it. How about this one? Here's another one. This is CNN. Normally, CNN.
You've been listening to President Biden speaking.
Tapper's brutal, and kudos to Jake Tapper. Listen to Jake.
At the White House, forced to talk about the worsening crisis in Afghanistan, forced to speak to the nation after the calamity of the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan. The president stated that he stands squarely behind the decision he made to withdraw all U.S. forces from Afghanistan.
Well, whoop-de-doo. We decided that in the last administration, too. Whoop-de-flippin'-do. Oh, he stands by his decision. Really? Is that the problem here, Joe? Anyway, let's hear Jake.
Even though he has, in fact, been forced to send roughly 6,000 back in. The president saying, in fact, that if anything, the events of the last few days, this foreign policy and humanitarian disaster, proves to him that he made the right decision, given the fleeing of Afghan politicians from the country and the collapse of the Afghan military. The president said that the buck stopped with him, but in fact, this speech was full of finger pointing and blame, especially for the...
Right? It was brutal. It's all about me, but he did it, and he did it, and they did it, and this and that, and then that. By the way, good morning, MC.
Hammer time.
MC, how you doing?
The Afghans, even saying that while the U.S. would be working to rescue those Americans and U.S. allies who needed to be saved, he claimed part of the reason why the U.S. did not save sooner Afghan allies, the translators and others who worked with the U.S. military, who fear being slaughtered by the Taliban, they didn't act sooner, the president said, because some Afghans, he claimed, did not want to leave earlier because they were hopeful about a new Afghan government.
But was that part of one of the contingencies that you were all prepared for every contingency? Hello, Mang Pete. How you doing?
Mr. Biden also said that the Afghan government discouraged the U.S. from ordering a mass exodus for fear of triggering a crisis of confidence, the president said.
Oh, good God.
Mr. Biden also focused on the larger decision to end the U.S. presence in Afghanistan. That was, in fact, his larger focus, whether or not the U.S. should continue to be there. He did not really get into or accept any blame for the catastrophic exit that
Failure.
we've been watching on television
Failure.
in the last
Say it,
several
Jake.
days.
Failure. Exactly. And then finally, I think this is Jake talking to a panel. I stand by my decision to withdraw from Afghanistan. Well, good for you, Joe. Your decision, really? Did you just think of this one all by yourself? Just curious. Thank you, Maddie, with the YouTube Super Chat. Appreciate you very much for sponsoring the show today. It says Biden blaming Trump is bull. Out of all the policies and deals Biden undid, he chose this one to follow through. Why? Because he agrees with Trump. Right. Yeah. I mean, it was, Trump was going to follow through this either way, but Biden messed it up because, again, as I'll say over and over and over, the deal, the negotiations that were done with the Taliban were not Donald Trump's negotiation. They were not Mike Pompeo's negotiation. They were not, Ivanka's negotiations. To the Taliban, it was the United States of America. That's who they were negotiating with. And regardless of who's in that captain seat, right? Who's in the big golden throne in Washington. Doesn't matter who's in that throne. They were negotiating with the United States of America, and the United States of America broke the deal that they had. And they broke the deal that they had with the Taliban. They broke the deal that the people in Afghanistan knew that the United States of America had with the Taliban. And the Afghans probably were like, wait a minute, what? This new idiot, this guy that we already had an agreement, you're going to get us killed. And so why do you think there was no resistance? They weren't prepared to fight. Why do you think at the point where the military leaders, the Afghan militaries, the Afghan army, their leaders took the bribes and said, come on through, because they don't feel like they were being backed up by the United States of America, with whom the Taliban had the deal to just stay the hell over there. These guys will stay over here. Everyone will be good. But no, couldn't do that, could you? You couldn't. You had to undo everything Trump did. Well, sort of. You still decided to get out, but you wanted it on your terms so you could be a freaking hero. Well, hero, look how you are now. How's that label of hero feeling to you, Joe? Here's Jake Tapper, again, talking to a panel at CNN.
President Biden keeps trying to change the subject from this inept withdrawal, which, just let's be frank here. If you withdraw 2,500 troops and then you have to send 6,000 back, that's not planned.
Right.
That's on its face an example of a failure.
This is CNN. For CNN, that's brutal criticism of the guy that they've been propping up since he got into office. Unreal. Hello, Sir Shaggy. The rats are jumping overboard to make a break for new Warrens. Wish I could enjoy the 180 from the MSN, but the filth endures, I fear. Oh, no. I guarantee you they're going to be back to propping Joe up as much as they can because there's still the residual of the orange guy, and they're going to find ways to blame this on Trump. I've been watching on Twitter. I've been watching some of the people tweeting about this, like Brian Karam, that jackass from, what's he from? He used to write for Playboy, and I think he might be with either CNN or something now. And he's talking about, praising Joe Biden for taking responsibility. Oh, the buck stops here. Like he's twiddling his nipples. He's so excited that of Joe's speech. And in reality, Joe's speech was a joke. Hello. Oh, Luna, what's up? Luna J. Lane. Nice to see you. Yeah. Did you feel that? Did anyone else feel that, what Luna just said? Wow. I actually agree with CNN. Isn't that scary? Isn't that scary? Oh my gosh. Anyway, Good Morning Infamous one too. Then we have the Taliban News Network, MSNBC. Except that one, Fink? What was his name? The first guy I talked about, when he just lit into, or Matt Zeller, that's his name, Matt Zeller, lit into Brian Williams, going, "What speech were you watching, asshole?" Anyway, so now let's go look through some of the other media outlets that do this kind of stuff. They will dump Biden in favor of Harris very soon, in your humble opinion. I don't know. By the way, I know I don't think I have an article about it, but Kamala Harris said that she was one of the last people in the room when they were talking about this, and she was advising Joe Biden right up into the actions that they didn't take, and so is she accepting some of the responsibility for this clusterfuck? I don't know. Okay, that's weird. Does that say 3655? I don't know what that says. Anyway, so let's get into a few other outlets, and we'll just kind of touch on different things. Here's the BBC article, Afghanistan conflict. As Kabul falls, Biden backlash grows. Now, yeah, the BBC sometimes is a little more honest with how it's going, and this ain't going well. If they got a picture of this, Hadia Essazada, who fled Afghanistan for the U.S., is haunted by past trauma of the fearful for the future. The lightning advance of the Taliban in retaking the country has led Afghan Americans, former generals and leading statesmen, to blame President Joe Biden for a hasty U.S. withdrawal. But he appears to have the public on his side for now. Okay, they may have this wrong. Hadia Essazada wept as she recounted the horror the Taliban visited on her household, first beating her father, then killing her brother. The first time they were beating my father with an iron rod because they were looking for my elder brother who had fought to resist their rule in the 1990s, as she told BBC Persian. They fled their house in the northern city of Mazar-i-Sharif, but after 6 months, we returned to our home. Taliban again came to visit us, and they took my younger brother. I don't know how many days had passed when a shopkeeper in our neighborhood came to my father to tell him his son was killed. She said the Taliban had executed him and dragged his body through the streets. Relatives were not allowed to collect his body for burial for weeks, and by then, dogs have been allowed to desecrate the remains. Miss Essazada's day in her 20s and living in the U.S. said she now feared for the security of both Afghanistan and her new home, America, now that the Taliban is in control once more. The Taliban has not changed a bit, she said, predicting that the West will be targeted by militants who she believes will be given shelter by the group. Do you really want to go back to Afghanistan again? Biden's promise to get out. To his critics, the president's decision to wind down America's longest conflict has undone 20 years of work and sacrifice, paved the way for a humanitarian catastrophe, and called into question U.S. credibility. Now, this is not what the critics in the United States are saying, at least not that I've seen. It's not his decision to wind down America's longest conflict. That's not the problem. It is in the manner he did it. I'm sorry, I didn't even have that on the screen here. It's the manner in which he did. He didn't abide by the agreement that the United States of America, not President Trump, the United States of America had with the Taliban. Now, we don't know 100% that the Taliban would have abided by the agreement. We don't know that. Of course we don't know that. But, again, I'm going to say this like I said yesterday. The agreement to be out by May 1st was made by an administration that isn't afraid to threaten, or at least give the appearance. They're not. This is the handshake and we'll give you extra money administration that made this deal. We're the, if you you can follow this deal. We'll all get along. And if you don't, we're going to blow your ass up agreement. Okay? Even if it's not, even if it's a feint, even if it's a bluff, they aren't afraid to use that type of language. And that's the type of language certain cultures respect. And when the United States of America makes a agreement to be out by May 1st, and then all of a sudden the United States of America, not Joe Biden to the Taliban, they don't care who the president is. To them, it's the United States of America making the deal and breaking the deal. That's when there are problems, because that culture is an honor culture. It's not, what are there's I can't remember the other type, but it's an honor culture. And this is showing dishonor to an agreement that's already made. And so they can change now too. And this is where we get. It's not about critics criticizing the America leaving Afghanistan. I don't know if there's anybody except for some Lincoln Project assholes who didn't want us to get out of Afghanistan. They're obviously the war hawks and war pigs and whatever you call them. They think, oh no, we need to stay there and this and that. Hello, by the way, Cheated Emeralds, Ham and Beans, Buster Outlaws, and I thought I saw BG in here too. Good morning to you all. Yeah, so this is a little bit of a fallacy by the BBC. Also, Sean, how you doing? Not otter culture, honor, HONOR, honor culture. Anyway, many of those closest to the conflict, Afghan soldiers, a statement, have long been skeptical of the president's view that the Kabul government could be expected to maintain the country's security by itself. Well, the problem is, when you broke that deal, there was no chance of that happening anymore. You arbitrarily changed the date to make it a victory for Joe Biden and not for the United States of America. And not because you didn't want Trump to have a victory. And so, but you didn't check with the Taliban when you said you're going to change your withdrawal date, which they, being from the Stone Age, probably assumed that it was set in stone. How about that? Anyway, so with the fall of the capital city on Sunday, some wonder whether it is only a matter of time before the American electorate comes to regret Mr. Biden's move to deliver on the long-held promise of getting America out. I don't think so. That's not the problem. Again, it's not the problem. It's the aftermath of making decisions that were not renegotiated is the problem. His decision to pull out is hardly a surprise. Since his days as vice president to Barack Obama, he has always insisted that the war should be limited in its mission. Really? That's what he tells you. Oh, here, as a senator from Delaware in 2001, he joined the unanimous vote to approve the use of military force in Afghanistan, but he opposed the deployment of more troops Mr. Obama authorized in 2009, the so-called surge. Biden was pretty darn clear on Afghanistan. Brett Bruin, a former diplomat who sat in the Obama administration's National Security Council meetings, told the BCC, he said, we should get the heck out of there. Did he now? Well, okay. Kudos to President Sundowner. Mr. Biden pushed his case and would sometimes make it personal, Mr. Bruin recalled. It was an effort to win over the room, he said, as the White House candidate in 2019. Mr. Biden reminded voters that he would be the first president since Dwight Eisenhower in the 1950s to have had a child serve in an active conflict. Yeah, okay, and $20 will get you 3 coffees at Starbucks. Nobody cares. Anyway, this one goes on and on. So the BBC does give him a little bail. Let's check out, I don't need that. Let's close that. I was going to scroll down and see what else popped up on here. Nah, they don't care. That's in the getter. Okay, this is a wrong subject. We'll move that down and we'll move this one down. All right. I don't know why I brought this up, but apparently what's his name? He used to be the White House doctor. Ronnie Jackson. He's a Republican from Texas now. He's a representative in the House. Ex-Obama doctor floats 25th Amendment. Biden mentally incapable. Something must be done. Representative Ronnie Jackson, who served in the White House physician under the last two administrations, said Monday that it was time to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove President Joe Biden because of the disaster that has unfolded in Afghanistan. Okay, now that's not that bad decisions is not a reason to invoke the 25th Amendment. Again, the 25th Amendment is they made it in case there's incapacitation. And in some ways, I know you might say that Joe Biden is completely incapacitated, but I don't know if we're quite to that exact point yet. But boy, some of these decisions. Jackson made the remarks after days of disturbing images showing chaotic and embarrassing pullout of U.S. forces in Afghanistan. Those images reached a low point on Monday morning when hundreds of Afghans were seen chasing U.S. military cargo planes that were taking off, with some falling off the plane after it had taken off and reached high altitude. Yeah, that I really don't want to show that. Anyway, here's how long is this clip? If it's too long, we'll skip it. I'll see if Ronnie Jackson here saying his piece. If this ever pops up, someday it'll pop up and it'll tell me the clip is too long. 17 seconds. Here we go. Here's Ronnie Jackson.
I think that he's either going to, there's something seriously going on with this man right now. And, I think that he's either going to resign. They're going to convince him to resign from office at some point in the near future for medical issues, or they're going to have to use the 25th Amendment to get rid of this man right now. There's some serious stuff going on right now. And if they do that, it'll be the president's cabinet that initiates that. There's some. All
right. So anyway, and this is Aaron Rupar, the guy. Is he from Vox or where's he from? Oh, yeah, he's from Vox, who, he's totally left-wing Democrat shill, and he didn't like the idea that someone said that. But as many times as people would say that about Trump during the last couple of years, right back at you, babe. Okay, there you go. Anyway, Jackson proceeded to fire off several additional tweets throughout the day, hitting Biden. Why did he take so long for Biden to schedule an address to the public? What was he doing this past weekend? The Afghan crisis is getting worse by the minute, and the leader of the free world was hiding in the basement, figuratively. This is a disgrace. There's several tweets you could read there that he gave off, but he was not happy with the president. All right, moving on. Breitbart's Rick Scott floats another Republican, floats his ouster. Rick Scott floats Biden's ouster. Has time come to exercise the provisions of the 25th Amendment? Rick Scott, Republican Florida, on Monday weighed in on the United States disaster executor withdrawal from Afghanistan, raising the question of whether the time had arrived to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove a president, Joe Biden. After the disastrous events in Afghanistan, we must confront a serious question. Is Joe Biden capable of discharging the duties of his office, or has time come to exercise the provisions of the 25th Amendment? That's another tweet storm that he put out there. Look, it's not... I don't necessarily agree with that, unless they can prove that there's some kind of incapacitation. And I don't know, but I do have to say that this, oh boy, how do I say this? Joe Biden's not making these decisions, okay? They gave him that little 17-minute speech in which he took no questions, which is... he is not in control. He's got some handlers that are telling him what to do. He makes statements where he's concerned about, getting in trouble for saying things or going beyond the scope of what they've told him to go out and say. I'm curious, and I had this conversation with someone too. Who's pulling the strings? I don't know. Thank you, Gamer Verleen, with the super chat, who says non-graphic video of them swarming a taxiing C-17 and Twitter DMs to demonstrate the scale of chaos. Oh, cool. Yeah, because I didn't want to. I did not want to put the one where they're falling off of the plane. That just it just doesn't look good. Here we go. From ABC News here. Thank you, Gamer Valine. I appreciate it. And also thank you for sponsoring the show. Love you, babe. All right. Here they, I mean, this is a taxiing plane on the runway, and some of these people are trying to, I mean, this is just scary in itself. Look, I mean, they're, what are they going to do? I mean, these guys right here, what, do they think they're going to be able to fly with the plane like that? God, it's just, that is just, it's heartbreaking. I got to tell you, it is heartbreaking. Where do I have that? I'm going to do something real quick. I'll put that, I'm going to have that in the links. Can I do that? Oh, maybe I can. I don't know. Let's real quick here. All right. That'll be that tweet will be in the links. So if you want to see that or use that for something else, it'll be there. All right. Let's see. We already talked to Rick Scott. And so let's go for if you didn't see the speech yesterday, here's just a quick rundown from Legal Insurrection that you can read. Biden blames everybody but himself for Afghanistan withdrawal fiasco. Never addressed why it went haywire this weekend. President Joe Biden blamed everybody but himself in one of the worst political speeches in history. Now it's interesting. That's a quite a departure from the way Brian Williams was making it, giving him the old Joe Biden hagiography. But the fact that Joe Biden did not address the issue at hand, what went wrong this weekend, the majority of people want a withdrawal. We are okay with that. People are not mad about the withdrawal. People are mad about how it went down. Justin Anderson. Oh, wait. Did I already? Hang on a second here. Justin Anderson, welcome to the show. Also, Now What's in the House? Nice to see you, my friend. Here, let's go down to the bottom here. Good morning, P-Dawg. Mostly peaceful. Shit. Anyway, yeah, it's not about the withdrawal. Very few people have an issue with us leaving Afghanistan. It's how we are leaving. So Biden blamed everybody but himself, even though the Afghan and threw the Afghans under the bus. Quote, "We gave them every chance to determine their own future. We could not provide them the will to fight for that future." Really? There were some very brave and capable Afghan Special Forces units and soldiers, but if Afghanistan is unable to mount any real resistance to the Taliban now, there's no chance that in 1 more year, 5 more years, 20 more years of U.S. military boots on the ground would have made a difference. Well, yeah, but you kind of threw them under the bus by changing that date and didn't give them a chance. And they said, fuck it, we can't trust the United States. Hello, Black Hebrew Israelite. That's right. I see there. The plane had to take back off. It had just landed with supplies. Who cares if they are military-aged men and women? There's maybe a crew of 10 on board. Yeah, that plane, that's so heartbreaking. And then Biden brought up Trump's deal because it didn't not have a plan to withdraw. Dude, you had over 6 months to come up with a plan. And I think we had Trump been reelected, I'm sure from the beginning, and in fact, even before re-inauguration, they would have been making that plan, but under the agreement what they had with the Taliban. Scotty Dubs, fuck Afghanistan, yeah. It's not, it's there again, Stone Age. And unfortunately, our deal with the Taliban wasn't written in stone. Anyway, you can, but if you missed the speech, we went over it yesterday. It'll be in this article from Legal Insurrection. It'll be in the tabs. By the way, everything we do, every video that I've done, every tweet, every article will be in that single one tab link after the first paragraph in the description. The immediately following paragraph, the second paragraph will have that link there. That'll have every single website and article, whatever that we did today. So there you go. Moving on from the Daily Wire, Biden returns to Camp David after White House speech on Afghanistan. Yes, he went back for a nappy and some pudding. The White House announced President Joe Biden was heading back to Camp David after he delivered a speech at the White House Monday discussing the situation in Afghanistan. Per several reports, the White House told the press that Biden would depart Washington, D.C. en route to Camp David at 4:50 p.m. on Monday. And there's the official update. The president will not return to Camp David. And then they had this update after the president will travel to Camp David, departure from whatever. Several commentators on Twitter panned the president's decision. I wonder why. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, I mean, unless are all his advisors at Camp David too? Even Meghan McCain? I don't understand. On CNN's The Lead with Jake Tapper, correspondent Jeff Zeleny commented on the decision for Biden to return to Camp David. Zeleny said, "Optics, as you know, Jake, are very important for any president. So if the president going back to Camp David, very important optically as well. They're trying to show they have the crisis under control." We'll see, of course, if he comes back to the White House and has to speak again. Maybe it would be a good idea if he came to the White House and answered a few questions from the press, but I don't know if these handlers would be able to give him a list strong enough to keep the shouting reporters from getting questions in sideways and then Biden having to answer things off the cuff and becoming confused and start talking about, the hair on his legs. The president has been criticized across the board for his response to the situation in Afghanistan. Yes, he has. As the Daily Wire reported, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell slammed President Joe Biden Sunday evening after the Afghan government collapsed as the United States evacuated its forces from the country. Well, I don't really care what the turtle said, okay? The turtle can say what the turtle says, and that's great. Well, okay, here's McConnell's here's what McConnell said. Everyone saw this coming except the president, who publicly and confidently dismissed these threats from just weeks ago. The strategic, humanitarian, and moral consequences of this self-inflicted wound will hurt our country and distract from other challenges for years to come. Oh, and he continued, "A proud superpower has been reduced to hoping the Taliban will not interfere with our efforts to flee Afghanistan. God knows what fate awaits vulnerable Afghans who cannot make it to Kabul on to board one of the final flights out." Well, a few of them tried, and they got, they found special compartments and things, but for whatever reason, they didn't hold very well. Terrorists and major competitors like China are watching the embarrassment of a superpower laid low. It did not have to happen this way. The United States has the capacity to avoid this disaster. We have the capacity to dampen its effects, but without a presence on the ground or local partners defending the homeland from a resurgent Al-Qaeda will be far more difficult. Yeah, I think maybe McConnell wanted to leave a few people back there, but that wasn't the deal. And I don't know. And also and still, as we know, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki is reportedly taking an entire week off as Democratic President Joe Biden remains hidden from public view as the crisis in Afghanistan unfolds, the Daily Wire reported on Sunday. Yeah, great timing there, Jen. Hello, Brett Hayes. How you doing? Is that? No, that was Mitch McConnell's statement. All right, let's move on here. Washington Free Beacon. Hang on. Let me fix this here. Straighten this out. There we go. You should be able to see it a little better. Apparently 70% of Americans disapprove of Biden's handling of Afghanistan. Shocker. Nearly 70% of Americans disapprove of the... Okay, that's according to a poll of likely voters. The poll conducted over the weekend by Trafalgar Group found that 69% of Americans disapprove of Biden's botched pullout, with nearly 60% saying they strongly disapprove. Democrats also see the Biden administration's actions, which saw the Taliban take control of Afghanistan's civilian government in mere hours, as a failure. Oh, really? I didn't think anybody noticed. 48% disapprove of Biden's military actions in the country, while just 40% approve. The findings came as Biden prepared to address the American public. So this was before the speech. Let's see. Oh, just hours before Biden's scheduled speech, the White House released talking points. Oh, we never looked at the talking points. Here we go. We'll check that out next. Which state the administration's plan? The administration planned. I'm going to say that word again. Planned for a quick fall of Kabul. Just weeks before, however, Biden and top administration officials expressed confidence that Afghanistan's civilian government will retain control of the capital city for months, allowing American troops, civilian and allies to exit safely. But they planned for a quick fall. Okay, let's check the talking points. Oh, wait a minute. One of them. According to Convention of States Action President Mark Meckler, the poll shows there is absolutely no question that the American people are not buying the lies on Afghanistan. This is Saigon, and it is far worse, Meckler said in a statement. Okay, yeah, there we go. Justin, oh, dear me. Okay, I'm going to say that out loud. Yes, that's Joe Biden's biggest botch pullout since Hunter was conceived. Damn. Okay, there you go. FTG, the Biden administration. Yeah, how about you? They're Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
All right, so wait a minute. So the White House, here's the talking points. Oh, no. Let's see. Here are the White House Afghanistan talking points Pelosi's office just sent around. They are not good. Okay, let's read this. We got to see this. Oh, what happened there? Why is not the full screen not working? That's weird. That should be the full screen, and it's not. If you think it's butter, but it's not. Oh, that's because I messed this up yesterday. That's why. Now I get it. The full screen should look like that. Okay, here's the talking points that the White House sent out Monday at 12:06 p.m. This is roughly 3 hours before President Biden addressed the nation. So here they are. Let's go. Top line. The president was not willing to enter a third decade of conflict and surge in thousands of more troops to fight in a civil war that Afghanistan wouldn't fight for themselves. That is false. There was already a plan to withdraw from Afghanistan. This has nothing to do. That's okay. The second here, it's clear from the past few weeks that would have been necessary, more troops for an indefinite amount of time. There was no civil war. The past few weeks, didn't the Taliban basically do all of this in about 3 or 4 days, march across? And had you been gone by May 1st and with a plan that was originally agreed to, probably wouldn't have seen this for, again, the Taliban might have done the same thing a year from now. But let's put it this way. If the guy with the funny hair had won, they would probably wait until he left office. Congratulations. We got Sundowner Joe. Next one, the administration knew that there was a distinct possibility that Kabul would fall to the Taliban. Really? In 3 days? They knew that this was going to happen, and that Biden would have to take a speech as they're getting their last people out of there. Holy shit! Also, they said it was not an inevitability, but it was a possibility. Well, how did you prepare for that possibility? Because you said you were prepared for every contingency. These are the talking points that were sent out before the president spoke yesterday. POTUS said in July that the Afghan military had the capability to fight the Taliban, but they had to demonstrate the will. Sadly, that will did not materialize. Yeah, they were bribed. They were bribed. The Afghan military leaders were bribed by the Taliban to just say, "Nah, stand down," and they took the bribes. Were they ready for that possibility? The administration planned for every possibility except one, the one that happened. We had contingency plans in place for any eventuality, including a quick fall of Kabul. That's why we had troops pre-positioned in the region to deploy as they have done, except you had to bring in 5,000 back. Jake Tapper made that point. Again, this is before the speech. Notice how it parallels the speech too. We are focused on, and these talking points, they wrote the speech using these, right? So I think Joe was just at Camp David practicing the speech. Next point, we are focused on safely evacuating U.S. Embassy personnel, American citizens, SIV applicants and their families, and targeted Afghans. We have deployed 6,000 U.S. military to Afghanistan to secure the airport and ensure that those evacuation flights, as well as commercial and charter flights, can safely depart. By the way, I saw some news this morning that the Taliban actually is allowing some of the evacuations, and they're also allowing the Afghan government to function, at least on some of their functions, as of this morning, or as of today, our time. I mean, whatever their time yesterday to them, or a while back. They're late in the day now. And then finally, but indefinite war was and is unacceptable to the president. Well, guess what? We were already getting out. This was not your idea, Joe. Moving on, SIV applicants. The administration has deployed 6,000 military to secure the airport. We already saw that. They just added it in here a second time. Chairman Miley and Secretary Austin are working to restore order at the airport so those flights can take place. Oh, I see. They're going to the... Are they taking diversity training breaks? Just curious. Many have asked why we did not evacuate more Afghanistan civilians sooner. Part of the answer is that many did not want to leave earlier. Many Afghans who we gave visas come to the U.S. chose to stay in their country, still hopeful. Yeah. And then nearly 2,000 SIV applicants and their families are in the United States, and the administration is prepared to evacuate thousands of American citizens, SIV applicants, and targeted Afghans. And then finally, here's one. Now, here's the talking points on, was this an intelligence failure? Before, I'm going to take a poll in the chat. And not that we know necessarily what the intelligence was. Yes or no, was this an intelligence failure? Here's the Biden administration's answer. Again, this is before the speech. The administration knew that there was a distinct possibility that Kabul would fall to the Taliban. Now, this is on... Again, this is on Monday when it fell the day before. Hello, Amy in Connecticut. How you doing? It was not an inevitability. It was a possibility. Yes, they said that before. Okay, so they're repeating the top line, some of the top line talking points here. The administration planned for every possibility. Really? For people trying to get in the plane via the wheel wells? Was there a contingency plan for that? Including a quick fall of Kabul. That's why that's the pre-positioned troop argument. The president said in July the Afghan military had the capability. We already saw that one. Here's what the president was not willing to do. Enter a third decade of conflict and a surge in thousands of more troops. We've already decided that. It was decided by President Trump. We already had an agreement to be out by May 1st. This is a useless statement. Oh, they mentioned Trump in the talking points. Let's see what they say about the former president with the funny hair. When Trump made the Doha Agreement, there were 13,000 U.S. troops in Afghanistan. When POTUS took office, Trump had drawn down troops to 2,500. It's clear from the past few weeks that would have been necessary. Wait, what? When Trump made the Doha Agreement, there were 13,000 U.S. troops in Afghanistan. When President Biden took office, Trump had drawn down troops to 2,500. It's clear from the past few weeks that would have been necessary. I don't know that. Does anyone know what that means? It was a total failure and everything. Yeah, it was terrible. Okay. The president was unwilling to send U.S. men and women back to Afghanistan for an indefinite war, but he sent 5,000 back to take care of the airport. Okay. And then finally, counterterrorism. The United States face terrorist threats in countries around the world, including Syria, Libya, and Yemen. We don't have boots on the ground in those countries. We have over-the-horizon counterterrorism capabilities, and that is what we'll do in Afghanistan: prevent, detect, and disrupt terrorism threats with over-the-horizon capabilities. I'm fine with that, but stop lying about this debacle. And we'll hold the Taliban accountable to not allowing Al-Qaeda a safe haven. If they do, there will be consequences that we'll pursue. Oh, ooh, yeah. Well, good for you. Good God. So those were the talking points before the speech, and it kind of parallels what Biden said. Moving on, Kamala Harris claimed she had a key role in the Afghanistan withdrawal decision. Right? You know, if I were Kamala Harris, I might not be wanting to talk about that. I'm just saying. I would have just kept my mouth shut and smiled and kept driving and gone. Yeah, that's the big guy. That's the big guy's decision. I'd have been Colonel Clink, or well, not Clink. I'd have been Sergeant Schultz. I see nothing. I say nothing. I do nothing. Vice President Kamala Harris claimed a key role in the decision to withdraw from Afghanistan, but she has yet to make a public statement upon the Taliban overrunning Kabul Sunday. Yes, in fact, she was mad that even someone tried to ask her. She said, "I'm worried about Haiti right now. I'm not. I got nothing to do with this." Harris confirmed to CNN's Dana Bash that she was the last person in the room before President Joe Biden decided to remove all troops from Afghanistan. Well, wait a minute. Wait. Oh, is she talking about this over this moments or in general? It's okay. There's a political article too. Anyway, she said, "Were you the last person in the room?" Bash asked Harris. "Yes," Harris responded. Bash pressed with another question. "And you feel comfortable?" "I do," she responded. This is a president who has an extraordinary amount of courage, she said. She said about the decision to withdraw, "He is someone who I have seen over and over again make decisions based on what he truly believes is the right thing to do. Biden is acutely aware that it may not be politically popular or advantageous for him personally. It's really something to see," Harris continued. "I have seen him over and over and over again to make decisions based on exactly what he believes is right." Again, here they go with this bullshit that he made some kind of just decision that just would not be a popular decision, that all the American people think we should just stay in Afghanistan forever and not withdraw our troops. That's bullshit. Okay? Nobody. I've yet to see a pundit who says We need to stay in Afghanistan. We need to keep our troops in Afghanistan forever. There's no way we should withdraw our troops from Afghanistan. I haven't seen it yet. Now, I'm sure, like I said, some of the Lincoln Project fuckwads probably like that because, I'm sure Bill Kristol, if John McCain were alive, he'd be like, oh, we should never take our troops out of Afghanistan, but he's dead. And, but anyone who's in that ilk, they might, but I think the idea of getting, I said that twice, I don't know why. The idea of getting our troops out of Afghanistan is probably a very, very popular one. It's just, again, how this went down. Ian Mayashong says Kamala Harris tried to take partial credit for Afghanistan withdrawal when it looked like a sure thing that would have boosted the popularity of the Biden-Harris administration. Now she gets to co-own the failure. So, yeah, she... But now that the country has fallen into the hands of the Taliban terrorists, many are noticing Harris's absence from taking responsibility for her key role. Fox News titled a headline, President Biden and VP Harris avoid the cameras as Kabul falls to the Taliban, noting that Harris has avoided appearing on camera as Kabul, the capital city of Afghanistan, fell to the Taliban on Saturday and Sunday. Wow, that was repetitive. Managing editor of Town Hall, Spencer Brown, tweeted Monday that Harris is shrinking back from explaining to the American people how the not an evacuation is going in Kabul. Joe Biden is hiding. Jen Psaki's on vacation. Kamala is MIA. And this is how the not an evacuation is going in Kabul after the Biden administration told us they had weeks to complete a mere reduction in civilian diplomatic staff. So, anyway, people are noticing that, she was saying how she was a big part of it before, but now she is shutting the hell up. So there's the Politico article. You can read that one yourself. Let's see. Oh, and President Trump I'm going to get to President Trump chiming in a moment. But first, thank you, Gamer Lean, for the almost 5 on YouTube Super Chats, who says, the Democrats better figure it out. You have about 5,000 troops feeling mighty abandoned. That fosters a certain anti-perspective. Gotta careful with that phrasing, and I got you. I hear you. Gamer Fleet. Thank you again for sponsoring the show. You are wonderful, as always. President Trump has a question for Joe Biden. He may no longer be on Twitter, but Donald Trump is having his say about Joe Biden's latest epic failure, Afghanistan. Quote, and I don't do a good Trump, but so I'm not even going to try. First, Joe Biden surrendered the COVID, and now it has come roaring back. Then he surrendered to the Taliban, who has quickly overtaken Afghanistan and destroyed confidence in American power and influence, Trump said in a statement. The shocking rapid fall of Afghanistan reportedly stunned Joe Biden and other U.S. top officials. Biden had insisted that just last month that, quote, there's going to be no circumstance where you'll see people being lifted off the roof of an embassy of the United States from Afghanistan, end quote. Unfortunately, Biden was completely wrong, and there's the pictures. God. Now, I've seen this photo. Is that real? Is that there? Are they taking people off the top, or is that just to happen a helicopter flying over a building? Boy, it looks awfully similar, doesn't it? The outcome in Afghanistan, including the withdrawal, would have been totally different if the Trump administration had been in charge, Trump insisted. Who or what will Joe Biden surrender to next? Someone should ask him if they can find him. Oh, Jesus. And then Trump called on Biden to resign. So anyway. Okay. Obama's CIA director, Leon Panetta. We saw that interview. We'll skip it, but we saw that the key part. But he's saying that Biden must take responsibility for the Afghanistan debacle. This one, too, was before the president came out and gave a speech yesterday. And he sort of did. He used the words, the buck stops with the president, but we all saw the speech. Let's see. Oh, and then Pelosi, who was praising Biden yesterday for his his leadership in this situation. Well, now she's scolding the Taliban for their brutality, even as her leader greenlights atrocities. If you're wondering how the situation in Afghanistan could have spun so horrifically out of control and so quickly, consider how the Democrats now running the country think. On Saturday, just as the Taliban were set to take over the country, Speaker Nancy Pelosi actually commended President Joe Biden for his actions he has taken. At the same time, she expressed concerns about reports regarding the Taliban's brutal treatment of all Afghans, especially women and girls. Hello, it's Biden's actions that are enabling the Taliban to carry out such a brutality in the first place. Oh, I'm sorry, that should have been, hello, Puddinhead. Pelosi, but Pelosi warned the extremist, the world is watching. Okay, we read her statement yesterday. Yeah, the world is watching. And the Taliban's like, how are they watching? We don't have TVs. Anyway, she called on the U.S., the international community, and the Afghan government to do everything possible to protect women and girls from the Taliban's inhumane treatment. So, we read this whole thing yesterday. We're going to skip it, the rest of it. Oh, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki voiced similar delusions last week. Quote, the Taliban also has to make an assessment about what they want their role to be in the international community. Oh, again, they're in the Stone Age. They don't give a fuck about the international community. Let's see. Who's Kash Patel? Joe Biden is on vacation while Afghanistan is on fire. Oh, he's okay. Kash Patel, former chief of staff to the acting Secretary of Defense, noted that President Joe Biden is on vacation while Afghanistan is on fire on Monday's edition of Sirius XM's Breitbart News Daily with host Alex Marlow. Patel, former head of the National Counterterrorism Center at the National Security Council during the Trump administration, said, here's the biggest thing. On the most critical national security incident of the last 20 years, the Afghan withdrawal, President Biden isn't even sitting in the White House. The commander-in-chief is not surrounded. You would think the president of the United States during this time, now, I don't know if there's a substitute situation room at Camp David, but, they should be in that same room that they were sitting in when... Oh, I shouldn't joke about this. The same room they were sitting in during the Benghazi attacks. Oh boy. How long is this? Let's see. That's 23. Okay, there's a whole audio in this particular article of the recording of his remarks. But he did say, they knocked President Trump for going away for a weekend round of golf, except I would go away with him for those weekends, and this man would work around the clock nonstop, and there would be no gap in coverage in terms of how he ran the country. I just don't see the same zeal from the Biden administration, he continued, especially when they have out-of-office emails from the press secretary saying she's out of office for the entire week while Afghanistan is on fire. So there's a difference in not just what we did, but how we messaged it, and who was in the room when we did it. And they're just mentioning that Psaki's on vacation. Jeez, this whole administration's out to lunch. And we mentioned this yesterday, but the Taliban leaders used Twitter and WhatsApp to help capture Kabul. I wonder, and I mentioned this on Twitter, I wonder if they were staying within the terms of service, though, because they didn't get kicked off for this. Taliban leaders used Twitter and WhatsApp to spread propaganda and establish control over Kabul as they stormed the Afghan capital over the weekend. On Monday, Taliban spokesman Zabihullah Mujahideen tweeted, wait a minute. So this guy has a Twitter account And former President Donald Trump does not. Put that on your list. Taliban spokesman Zabihullah Mujahid tweeted that residents welcomed the Taliban and that the situation in Kabul is under control. Well, good. At least he could have some communication to let people know that. The jihadist group used WhatsApp to disseminate a similar message to Kabul residents as it entered the city. In recent days, Taliban leaders have circulated WhatsApp numbers that Afghan regime officials or soldiers could call to negotiate their surrender. Well, at least they use some technology. I know WhatsApp's really popular in underdeveloped places just because of its messaging capabilities. And good for the Taliban, at least coming out of the dark ages to use a little good old American bred technology to, oh boy. And as long as they stay within the terms of service, I don't care, you know. They have their sort of free speech anyway. The Taliban has swept across Afghanistan in the few weeks following Biden's withdrawal of U.S. troops, capturing major cities with little resistance. Thanks to WhatsApp and Twitter. Now, the Taliban has used WhatsApp and Twitter for years to share official statements, but in the past week, it has escalated the use of those platforms using WhatsApp to announce new rules for Kabul residents. Oh, just like Bill Maher, new rules. On Monday, Mujahid tweeted a warning against looting and unauthorized intimidation of Afghan officials. Oh, well, maybe he's keeping those guys under a little bit of restraint. The Taliban's complaint commission posted WhatsApp numbers for city residents to call if they face threats from anyone and set up an emergency broadcast system via the app as well. Twitter and Facebook, which owns WhatsApp, regularly ban ISIS members from their platforms, but the sites appeared to let the Taliban broadcast its messages without incident. Twitter spokesman told the Washington Free Beacon that it was proactively removing content that violates our policies. Well, there you go. See? The Taliban is just working within the terms of service, unlike the Orange Bad Man. This is amazing. I feel like I'm reading a Babylon Bee article right now. I'm just saying. You can read the rest yourself. And here it is. U.S. resumes flights out of Afghanistan after airport security breach. The United States will resume flights out of Afghanistan on Monday evening after flights were suspended earlier because of a security breach at Kabul's international airport. John Kirby, the Pentagon's chief spokesman, said Monday that the flights had been halted due to a security breach on the civilian side of the airport. Video on the ground at Hamid Karzai International Airport showed dozens of panicked Afghanistans running alongside a U.S. Air Force jet as it took off. Later, people could be seen in the distance falling from the plane after it had already taken off. All these images coming out are of concern and troubling, Kirby said. Horrific. Not just troubling, but horrific. Come on. At least 7 were confirmed dead among the chaos at the airport. A preliminary report indicated that 1 U.S. soldier had also been injured, according to Kirby. So you can click the rest of that. Again, all these articles will be in the tab and below the description in the second paragraph. Biden goes full American last. Now, I didn't see this part. Won't prioritize getting Americans out of Kabul over Afghans. Whatever the main concerns may be of the obscure, rudderless, far-left muddle known as the Biden administration acting to safeguard the well-being of the United States and its citizens, most certainly isn't one of them. Back in February, according to the Associated Press, Joe Biden made clear in his first major foreign policy address since taking office that he rejected the America First and transactional approach of his predecessor and urged cooperation among Western allies. And so it comes as no real surprise that in determining who will be helped out of the pit of desperation and fear that is Kabul today, Biden's handlers have announced that Americans will not be given priority. Holy shit. According to Yaki Heinrich of Fox News, Pentagon spokesman John Kirby said, quote, once we get more once we get more airlift out of Kabul, we're going to put as many people on those planes as we can. There will be a mix, not just American citizens, but perhaps some Afghan SIV, which is special immigrant visa applicants as well. We're going to focus on getting people out of the country, then sorting it out at the next stop. It's not going to be just Americans first, then SIV applicants. I guess... So they're not going to prioritize Americans. There's going to be some, again, special immigrant visa applicants. The priority actually appears to be getting the Afghans over here. According to Heinrich, the Biden administration plans to bring tens of thousands of Afghans to the United States and figure out who they are later. Wait a minute. I wonder if they're going to have IDs. Oh, wait, I forgot. You can't have IDs because... That's racist! Okay, so documents obtained from a source showing a Department of Defense planning to potentially relocate up to 30,000 Afghan special immigrant visa applicants into the United States in the immediate future. One of these Defense Department documents explains that the situation in Afghanistan may lead to the Department of State allowing Afghan applicants to be moved to temporary housing locations while still being vetted for parolee status. Which means they might be... I don't know. I was going to say they might end up in Texas at the those special holding facilities. Who knows? This is kind of weird. They're just again. They said okay. So what could possibly go wrong? None of those Al Qaeda or Islamic State jihadis could possibly end up being picked up by the American forces and brought to the United States, could they? Surely the idea that these jihadis would be able to come into the United States as Afghan refugees is beyond the realm of possibilities, right? Wrong. Remember, like Kirby said, we're going to focus on getting people out of the country, then sorting it out at the next stop. Meanwhile, it's highly doubtful that the Biden Defense Department would even be able to sort jihadis out from the Afghans that it brings to this country, even if they wanted to. After all, it doesn't acknowledge that there's a global jihad, and when it does take notice of Islamic terrorism, it dismisses it as a hijacking of the true message of the religion of peace. So, okay, yeah, just sort it out when they get here. Oh my God. In the immortal words of Frank Drebin, no, not Frank Drebin. What's one of those airplane movies? I can't remember the pilot's name. Anyway, we're all going to die. We're all going to die. All right, I'm almost out of time here. I just got a couple more, so you can tell. There's a article by Paul Sperry in the New York Post that the Taliban leader was freed from Guantanamo Bay in 2014 swap by Obama. Now, when I saw this article, I was thinking that, there have been a couple presidents. I think Trump's was behind the release of some Taliban people. But this one in 2014 is especially troubling. Real quick. Thank you, Gamer Valine. With the bullet, the 556. Bullshit. Fuck your personal ideology. Those official passports are for priority, and on every State Department policy, American passport holders take precedent. That's what I'm saying. I agree. The idea that they're not going to prioritize is insanity. But anyway, thank you again. Thank you, Gamer Valine. And thank you, Tyrai Deos, also a Streamlabs donation. Thank you all for sponsoring the show. Sounds like they want to silence American extremists while bringing in more people to follow certain squad member ideas. Someone made that comment the other day. I think it might have been Charlie Kirk, and I don't like how he phrased that, but I do think, look, I think any of the Afghani refugees that are actual refugees can be, certainly turn into great American citizens down the road and be grateful to what their opportunities are here. I feel, we saw the woman earlier whose brother was killed by the Taliban, that she's here and she worries for Afghanistan. She worries for things here. I don't think she's going to tolerate, I don't think the idea that they're going to tolerate the types that would be, bring more terrorism to the country. I don't think they would. I think they're weary of that. But the fact that they're going to probably just try and sort this out later means they're letting people slip through the cracks. Now, are these evacuation flights coming directly here? No, very unlikely. Okay. There's some point in between they're going. And I know that, for example, Great Britain's already talking about taking in a bunch of refugees. A couple other countries are already talking about taking in a bunch of Afghan refugees. But it's like, so we know that they're going to just start taking people out, right? And the opportunity for refugees to slip into those spots when they're not necessarily vetting them as much as possible, that's what becomes the problem. So it's not good. And yeah, this silencing American, quote, extremists, end quote. Yeah, they're, you hear all they talk about, what's the biggest terrorist threat to the United States right now, and they say it's the domestic ones. So I don't know. It's crazy. John Arnott, I don't know if I said hi, but good morning. No, they're landing in Qatar. It's back and forth for the U.S. Yeah, so if that's the case, then good. Hopefully they'll have a better vetting system once they get to Qatar. Anyway, this guy was freed from Guantanamo in 2014. Now, who did they swap him for? Was this? Oh, I hope this wasn't that. What was that dude they brought back here? When President Barack Obama released 5 Taliban commanders from the Guantanamo prison in exchange for an American deserter. Yes, it was that asshole. Oh my God. He assured a wary public that the dangerous enemy combatants would be transferred to Qatar and kept from causing any trouble in Afghanistan. In fact, they were left free to engineer Sunday's sacking of Kabul. Soon after gaining their freedom, some of the notorious Taliban 5 pledged to return to fight Americans in Afghanistan and made contact with active member Taliban militants there. But the Obama-Biden administration turned a blind eye to the disturbing intelligence reports, and it wasn't long before the freed detainees used Qatar as a base to form a regime in exile. Eventually, they were recognized by Western diplomats as official representatives of the Taliban during recent peace talks. Earlier this year, one of them, Karakhawa, actually sat across the table from President Biden's envoy to Afghanistan, Zalmay Khalilzad, in Moscow, where Karakhawa was part of the official Taliban delegation that negotiated the final terms of the U.S. withdrawal. The retreat cleared a path for the Taliban to retake power after 20 years. So that agreement was a 20-year agreement. And, a lot of these types of factions are that patient, so it's kind of crazy. Thank you to Rideos, another deuce in the sponsors pot. I mean, in regards to voter rolls, thinking that they will vote a certain way when they become citizens. Yeah, I understood that, and I don't necessarily. It's funny. Those kind of things take some weird twists and turns, as we've discovered with a large portion of the Hispanic population of this country, right? Democrats think they own the Hispanic, the Latino, the Latina, the Latinx, which nobody likes that word. And yet, 40% of Latino voters are conservative and vote mostly Republican. And so they can't necessarily, you remember, these people are going to come here and see what kind of culture the Democrats tend to push. They're going to be like, what you talking about, Willis? You know what I mean? So, it's not a guarantee. Although, also there tends to be policies from the left that like to give these people a lot of extra things and give them stuff. But I just say that you just never know as far as that goes. But I understood. I understood what you meant. All right. I got to wrap up here. The other articles left that I didn't get to. Biden orders more troops into Kabul after the airport overrun, and they had evacuated, or they had suspended the flights, but then they resumed them later that night. Illegal insurrection. Thousands of top Al-Qaeda, ISIS terrorists freed as Taliban takes Afghanistan. Yeah, so there was a prison that contained 5,000 high-value Taliban, Al-Qaeda, and Islamic fighters that when the Taliban came through, they freed that prison up. So let's party. Around 5,000 terrorists fled when Afghanistan government forces surrendered Bagram Air Base, 40 miles from Kabul. The prison at the base housed some of the world's most notorious jihadis besides the Guantanamo Bay Terrorist Center. That's not a good thing. Taliban claims it overran Bagram Air Base and freed prisoners. Many high-value detainees were located there, including members of Al-Qaeda. This will reverberate for years to come. Yeah. Hold your arses. And then, let's see, the last time I'm going to close. This one's not even an article, and I'm going to just get rid of this one from Don Lemon because I was going a different direction when I first started. And this one's all Afghanistan all the time. The last one is a editorial by Miranda Devine at the New York Post. Biden's defeat will echo for eternity. I'll just leave that one for you to read, but it certainly will. This is one of those things that will remind you of the Carter years. There is one interesting point, though, that I got to make. The evacuation of Saigon. How many of you remember who the president was when that happened? This might trip some of you up. In fact, put in the chat who you think the president was when the fall of Saigon, when we were airlifting troops out of there. See who remembers that. And while I'm thinking about that, also while you're thinking about that answer, or Googling furiously, whichever, be sure to hit the like button because I'm about to close this bitch down. Anyway, Obama's party went viral. Yes, it did. Hi, Ken Lee. Who remembers? Let's see what kind of answers we get. I got one Jimmy Carter. I got one Gerald Ford. I got a question mark. Nixon or Ford? Nixon. Who else has answers? I was 11. I don't remember. Special Can't Ask says Ford. NVA waited till after Watergate. Ford was president. Nixon. All right. Well, by the time I tell you the answer, you will have already typed it in. It was Gerald Ford. Yes, happened. Now, Nixon got us out of Vietnam, but that they hadn't impeached him yet because he resigned. And Abraham Lincoln. That's funny, Lord Stanhope. No, it was Gerald Ford, and most people don't remember that. But I think in this case, people are going to remember that it was Joe Biden. So I think this is going to be a lasting stain on whatever legacy he can scrape up when he's done, because a lot of people are saying that Joe Biden is Carter on steroids. At least Carter knew what he was doing, and he just made bad decisions. I don't even know that Joe Biden is making any decisions. I really don't. I think he has advisors and handlers and string pullers that are saying, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do. This is what you need to say. Here, we'll write it down for you. Here's your here's your note cards. Here's the list of people you're supposed to call in the press conferences. They all know what questions they're going to ask, and these are the questions they're going to ask. And here's your pudding. That's pretty much it. And until again, he's not going to resign soon. They're not going to 25th Amendment him. They are going to wait they're gonna stretch this out as long as they can, until at least he's been in office 2 full years, because that way they think they can push Kamala Harris on us to run 2 more times, because the idea that Joe Biden's going to run again for president, he's given you hints many times in some of these speeches that ain't happening. And if he does end up running again, I would consider that elder abuse. All right, hit the like button before we go. Thanks everyone for being here, especially our sponsor today. A lot of sponsors today. Tazzy hit us off hours, but damn, put the smackdown on us. Also, thank you, Maddie, Gamer Valine, Tarai Deos, and that's everybody. Okay, well, thanks everybody. Yeah, everyone sponsored the show today. It warms my heart. Also, all of you hanging out in the chat, appreciate your participation. I love it. It's great. Please share the stream if you think about it, and also after the show, or if you're watching a replay, throw a comment in the comment section. Doesn't have to be elaborate, just something that that you're here, and that helps the algorithm, apparently. I don't know. So everyone have a really fantastic day. Tomorrow, I'm not sure the schedule yet, because I don't know what time Lady Boomer has to be to work. If she has to be to work at a weird hour, then it'll be in the afternoon, and so on and so forth. I think it is going to be tomorrow afternoon but check me on social media at PDawgKnight on Twitter, Gab, Minds, CloudHub, Parler, and Getter, and I'll make that announcement in the morning, if it'll be in the morning or if it'll be in the afternoon. So that's it for today, people. Time for me to go. My name is PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.